Let me find a quieter place. The Capitol's quite noisy.
Okay, we're getting ready to interview Jonathan Lockwood. You can find a lot of his information at facebook.com/Conscience Coalition. And we'll get started with him as soon as he gets all set. And we'll start recording.
All right.
Yeah, take your time.
I found like a small nook. This should be.
Well, I have graphics of you. You can probably see them on your screen here. You don't have to have your video on if it's a pain in the ass.
I did put my video on, but
well, you don't have to. I mean, if it's a pain in the butt. We got graphics, but there you go. All right, you gotta bring it down so I can see other than the top of your head.
Is that there?
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, now what we're going to do is, of course, we'll talk about the summit coming up and your participation, a little bit of your history, and then where are you now? You're in what state?
I am in California.
Okay, so you're still what are you working on? The bill, did it pass? It's done? It's over? Is there a counter to it? There's something? What's your role? What are you doing?
Well, Conscience Coalition came into California to first fight against Senate Bill 276. Over the last couple of months, we trained grassroots activists how to engage with media, write letters to the editor, opinion editorials, those types of things, and learning how to use social media to create grassroots pressure. And we were narrowly defeated here in California, and the governor chose to put pharma profits over people's lives. And so what this week we've been really grappling with is making sure that lawmakers and the governor know that we will not go away, and there's no place in California for all for these bills.
Yeah, no, it's pleasure or pain. You're not going to be able to out-pleasure pharma's money, but you can give them some pain. Bring on the pain. So this is
yes.
a campaign thing in opposition to in rock and roll. So we'll talk about all this stuff in your beginning. How long do you have?
I have about 15, 20 minutes.
All right, we got to rock and roll, get it in. All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Hold on. All right, 3, 2, 1.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Declare your independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEA People Studios of Freedom to the Net, FreedomsPhoenix.com. What we're doing is talking to Jonathan Lockwood, an activist on the street, in the Capitol buildings of, and dealing with legislators and such. So, Jonathan Lockwood, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, you got some noise in the back. I'm going to bring you down for a second. Jonathan Lockwood is the executive director of Conscience Coalition. He has his master's degree in public relations from Georgetown University and earned his undergraduate degree in public relations at the journalism school at Metropolitan State University of Denver. After working in music, publicity for 2 years. He worked on congressional campaigns and has been the spokesman for over 40 lawmakers and candidates. He's led nonprofits, participated in numerous fellowships, including the Charles Koch Institute and the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC. We have had deals with ALEC since back in the early 90s, not all too favorable, and we know the Koch guys. We've had, but we just had the CEO of the Goldwater Institute live with them here just this last week. Clint Bollock with the Institute for Justice went on to become Arizona Supreme Court Justice here in Arizona. We just had him on the show a couple days ago. So this is, you're in, we understand how it works in the activism and bringing these skills down to the vaccine education debate, and I'm wondering how that's serving you. You learned a lot. What are you doing with that skill?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that people need to know that they have the power within themselves to do what a lot of people go through a lot of training and professional background to do in politics. There's lobbyists piling in throughout the building, of course, in any legislative capital. And I think that people need to know that they can, too, do those things like write letters to the editor, write opinion editorials, and meet with their legislators to make sure that their voices are heard. But I think the biggest takeaway from the vaccine fight here in California, this really is not just a mandate bill. It is an ending of medically necessary exemptions. And so what I would take away from this total debacle here in California is that the way that people have been protesting this week is the way that we should start every single vaccine fight in every state, because they need to hear the outrage from the very beginning.
Here in Arizona, we've been working on this for a long time, and it's been where they understand. You start messing with the children's, man, woo, mom and dad and grandma and grandpa will come say hello. Well, it doesn't matter if they got big pharmas just doling out the big, giant, humongous buckets of cash. And
Right.
California was a really good example of boom, boom, boom. House, Senate, governor. It went really fast. Now, they expected, I would imagine, that you guys, and you go away. Are you guys going away? You still on the street there doing what's going on?
No, we will not go away. And I think the big message this week has been, protest by day and vigil by night. Conscience Coalition has hosted a vigil each night this week to really, make sure that all these children are recognized. And it's brutal. I mean, it's to just watch the governor and the first partner throw vaccine injured children under the bus, or really in front of the bus, to pave their way to the White House is a moral outrage, and it's disgusting. And so this week we have not let up. In fact, I would say the pressure's only continued today. We still have people that are protesting right now. I had to run away to get on the show with you from pounding on the walls and letting them, hear everyone. And so,
are there competing bills? Do you have legislators that are put something else up and say, yeah, we can do this another way? But I remember, see if this rings a bell. You're Politico here. Help me out. About a year and a half ago, we had Dr. Judy Mikovits comes on the show on a regular basis, and we did the Vaccine Education Summit as part of our Freedom Summit tour. And a few years ago, we're going to do it again. And back then, it was kind of a little bit new, but we knew what was coming. And I'm wondering, as you're doing all of this, your motivation was what? I mean, why are you coming out in support of this particular issue? What got you going?
Well, there's a lot of aspects to this. So last legislative session in Oregon, I was working on really hammering the Governor Kate Brown. She's ranked 49th in terms of popularity in the country for governors. And she was shipping foster children across state lines into a network of psychiatric facilities, which the state pays millions to send kids to, and then also on the back end invest tax dollars, including to pay public workers retirement benefit plans. And so I was already working on that issue, and in that issue specifically, there are forced vaccines. So it's all tied together. And so when I saw all these families with vaccine injury stories or even death, I was mortified to watch the legislation being pushed in Oregon, and got really aggressive in helping take that bill down. And, then when I saw what was happening in California, I have close friends down here, and I have a lot of friends who are starting off having families, and, millennials are starting to have kids. And millennials were, I think, the first generation to be given a worse off global stage, a worse off economic future, and really, truly a worse off healthcare system. 54% of kids have chronic health conditions. And the first safety reports on vaccines that was due to the Health and Human Services Secretary in 1988. Not only was that one never done, that first one under federal law, the 1986 NCDIA, National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, none have ever been done. So millennials have been vaccinated their entire life with really unchecked vaccines. And then, there's no better example of crony capitalism than the vaccine market. There's no accountability, no competition, and no liability. So that's really where I come at from this on this issue.
What really, a lot of things. We've have 12 grandchildren not vaccinated, and all the ones from our children, man, we shouldn't do that. And one of the things that came to my attention was that doctors, pediatricians in particular, if they reached a certain percentage of their patients that, which is almost as 90 is some ridiculous number, if they got them all on the schedule and got their 15 billion shots, they got financial bonuses. And it's like, no, we need you to get it. I need a boat. So when I went to my daughters and daughters-in-law, I have 4 children, I'm like, wow, I had no idea how much pressure you were under to every time you go to a well baby visit, they want to stick them with notions and potions from the man. And they're going, no, Dad, you have no idea. It's way more. We had to change doctors. They didn't want us because we messed up their percentage. And I'm like, what? Then you find out that the women in government, WIG, would have a mandate or eliminate an exemption. When they did that, I'm going, yep, here it comes. So sure as heck, in the next cycle or two, man, they were pushing this stuff through, and everybody wanted the money, and it's cheap money when you're talking gazillions of dollars for big pharma. So in California, there was somebody that did a RICO action. Of course, they dismissed it, but to go after racketeering. So I am like, these guys they're bad. So there has to be some kind of a pain for these legislators. It's not about, you cannot out-gift them, with the big pharma money. So there is some pain, and I'm just for do you have candidates that will be running on, freedom? Are you supporting people, or are you just going to target the bad guys? Because lobbying the people that are already there, in my opinion, is a waste of freaking time if they don't know that there's some pain coming.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people saw was that they try to have meetings with all these legislators who don't give a damn, because all they do is have them come in and listen and put on a fake smile, and then they go and vote the wrong way. Yep. So it begs the question, are these families really supposed to waste their time meeting with godless lawmakers, or should they be raising hell and going out and protesting from the get-go and making sure that they get these people unelected?
Absolutely. Unelected. And Freedom's Phoenix, we got some tools. We're ready to rock and roll and whatnot. And I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to you coming and speak. I know you got to get going here, but go ahead and share with the audience if they come to the vaccineeducationsummit.com to visit with you. What's your message going to be? What's your presentation?
My message is going to be all about how lawmakers really need to stand up, and being a no vote is not enough. We need lawmakers to push legislation that pushes back on this wave of unconscionable bills, and also to tell activists that, it's on you to do what you feel is right in the time. And I've seen in a lot of the states I've been working with that there's a lot of policing of speech within the movement, and you have to hammer these lawmakers from the beginning and go hard at it and not relent and not get wound up in the current system as it is, and fall prey to this idea that if you meet with lawmakers, you're just going to flip their vote. Because what we saw here in California was literally people that promised a no vote or an abstain chose to change their mind because at the 11th hour they caved to political pressure. And at the end of the day, that's what most of these Democrats are going to end up doing. And I want to make sure, too, that people understand that this wave of mandates is coming from one side.
What do you mean? Wait, you mean the Democrats?
Yeah, it is Democrats that are pushing these bills, and I think that people need to know that there's no place in the Republican Party for anyone who would sign their name to one of these mandate bills.
Okay, now I got to ask you this. You know, I've been through this many times as a young man going through, and I know better. But in your experience, when you have a party line vote, which this in California was, Democrats on one side, Republicans on the other, if they needed, 1 to 20 Republican votes, would they have got them?
Well, in Oregon, they certainly did, because Sherry Halt decided to cut a deal with the devil and sold her soul to Elizabeth Steiner Hayward. For what? I have no idea. But she was the token Republican to make it bipartisan. And then you had Chuck Thompson in the Senate. He also signed on to that bill. And in fact, he stopped caucusing with Republicans over their opposition for it. So, I just think that people on both sides of the aisle, a lot of the women who have been at rallies I've spoken at and participated in grassroots trainings I've done, they're liberal. There is no place really in either party, I would say, for anyone who would decide to take away the right from doctors to issue out medical exemptions for children who need them.
I'm all about bringing the pain. I understand how this works, and we'll get to know each other and talk about it when you come. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Keep up the good work. I appreciate you spending time with us. Go ahead and give out whatever webpage or presence you want the audience to know about.
Yeah, so you can go to consciencecoalition.com and go to our website. You can read our press releases. You can go to consciencecoalition.com/study to get the full package of our study assignment to lawmakers, which covers really the very foundation of why any of these bills would be wrong, including having the 1986 National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act and the Supreme Court ruling that upheld it, and also the legislative report that was used to push for the passage of the law in Congress that even recognized that death and injury can result from vaccines, and that there's no way to predict it.
Okay, wait. There was a Supreme Court case that supported what?
Oh, the 1986 NCVIA Act.
That gave limited liability, no liability to pharma, and did the vaccine court, all that has been challenged to the Supreme Court, and it was upheld? On what grounds?
The dissent's quite long, but actually, liberal justices Sotomayor and RBG sided with us on this issue, oddly enough. So the study assignment really is imperative for everyone in this fight to read, because it's the federal law and the Supreme Court ruling. This isn't a list of vaccine ingredients that are, lawmakers just look like bewildered when they get those words thrown at them because they don't even understand what that is, and they just, shrug it off. But there have been no safety reports on vaccines to Congress, and there really is a vaccine crisis, not just here in the United States, but really across the world. And all it takes is, actually talking to real people to find that information.
How long have you been doing this?
Doing what?
You're focusing on the vaccine issue.
So on the vaccine issue specifically, about 7 or 8 months.
Well, I tell you, all the other stuff prepped you for it because it's a freedom thing. It always comes down to we rule you or do I own myself? And sure as hell, this forced mandate of notions and potions sticking in the flesh of babies, because the crown says, I'm with you, brother. All right, hey, thank you. Get back to it. And I look forward to seeing you. That is September 28th at the Sheridan Crescent Resort in North Phoenix. And it's only $100. You get the whole day. You get fed. A lot of great speakers. We had a donation of $1,000 to be able to give 50% scholarship to 20 people. Now we have some naturopathic schools that we're going to, and we're trying to get them some scholarship. We're going to have a crowd for you, but I tell you, share, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Peace.